On a quiet street corner in Manhattan, at exactly 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a young woman said goodbye to a friend. She mentioned she might walk home through the park. It was an ordinary thing to say, the kind of sentence said 1,000 times a day by 1,000 different people that nobody remembers afterward. Except this time, someone did remember it, because that sentence was the last thing Dorothy Arnold was ever heard to say. She did not walk through the park. She did not arrive home. She did not appear the next day or the next month or in the 11 decades since. This is the case that the New York Police Department still, to this day, has never officially closed. Part 1. The Girl Who Had Everything. To understand why Dorothy Arnold's disappearance became one of the strangest mysteries in American history, you have to understand who she was. Because on paper, Dorothy Arnold was the last person anyone expected to vanish without a trace. She was 25 years old, the daughter of a wealthy perfume importer. Her family lived in a mansion on Manhattan's Upper East Side, the kind of home with servants and a name in the society pages. She'd graduated from Bryn Mawr, one of the most prestigious women's colleges in the country. She spoke several languages fluently. She came from a bloodline that traced back to the Mayflower, with a Supreme Court justice somewhere in the family tree. By every measure her world used to judge a young woman's prospects, Dorothy Arnold had already won. But Dorothy didn't want what her world wanted for her. She wanted to be a writer. It seems like such a small thing now, but in 1910, for a woman of her class, it was almost a rebellion. She'd been quietly submitting short stories to magazines, hoping to be published. Her family found this amusing more than anything, a hobby, not a calling. When her stories were rejected, her friends and relatives teased her about it. She didn't find it funny. 2 months before she disappeared, Dorothy asked her father if she could rent a small apartment downtown, in Greenwich Village, the neighborhood where the city's writers and artists actually lived. She wanted space to work. Her father said no. His reasoning, as she remembered it, was simple. A good writer can write anywhere. It's a throwaway line, the kind of thing a parent says without thinking twice. But in hindsight, after everything that followed, it reads very differently, like the closing of a door that Dorothy had been quietly trying to open for a long time. She had, it would later turn out, secrets her family knew nothing about. Part 2. The Secret. In September of 1910, 3 months before she disappeared, Dorothy told her parents she was going to visit a college friend in Boston. That wasn't true. She spent the week instead in a hotel with a man named George Griscom Jr., an engineer from Pittsburgh, more than a decade older than her, with a reputation her family would not have approved of even if his age hadn't been an issue. To pay for the trip, Dorothy quietly pawned $500 worth of her own jewelry. When her parents found out, they were furious. They forbade her from seeing him again. She kept writing to him anyway. This is the part of the story where you start to realize Dorothy Arnold was living 2 lives. The dutiful socialite daughter her family believed they had, and a young woman underneath that, restless, secretive, increasingly desperate for a version of her own life that her family would never sanction. She'd even rented a private post office box, not for love letters, for her rejected manuscripts. She didn't want her family to see how many times she'd failed. A small, quiet, almost heartbreaking secret hidden in a city of 8 million people who had no idea it existed. Then came November 26, 1910, 2.5 weeks before she vanished. Dorothy wrote a letter to Griscom, who was traveling in Europe. In it, she described receiving yet another rejection, this time from McClure's magazine, one of the most respected publications in the country. What she wrote next is the line that would haunt investigators for years. "Failure stares me in the face. All I can see ahead is a long road with no turning." She added something else, something that, after she disappeared, her family could never stop turning over in their minds. Mother will always think an accident has happened. Part 3. The Last Day. December 12, 1910. A cold Monday morning in New York City. Dorothy told her mother she was going dress shopping. Her younger sister Marjorie's debutante ball was coming up, and Dorothy needed something to wear. Her mother offered.